What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Saturday, July 11th, 2026, and we've got a really nice 3-game WNBA slate to break down today. We're talking Minnesota Lynx versus New York Liberty, the two hottest teams in the league right now, then Atlanta Dream hosting the Portland Fire. And we close it out with Aya Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Let's break down the standings real quick so we're all on the same page. In the Western Conference, it's an absolute logjam at the top. The Golden State Valkyries sit at 17-7, Minnesota and Las Vegas are tied right behind them at 16-6 apiece, and Dallas is right there at 15-8. In the East, it's a three-way tie at the top between Atlanta, Indiana, and New York, all sitting at 13-9. Okay, let's get into Game 1. We start with Minnesota Lynx versus New York Liberty. This is genuinely one of the marquee matchups of the regular season. Minnesota comes in at 16-6, tied for the best record in the Western Conference, and New York is right behind them at 13-9, tied atop the East. This is being billed by a lot of outlets as a potential WNBA Finals preview, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. Let's talk recent form first. These two teams just played each other, and the Liberty absolutely took care of business, winning 99-86 behind a 36-point outburst from Breanna Stewart. That was actually New York's second straight win over Minnesota. They also beat the Lynx 85-75 earlier in the season. So heading into today, the Liberty have won 2 straight in this head-to-head series, and Minnesota has not beaten New York on their home floor in 3 consecutive tries. That's a real storyline. Minnesota is going to want revenge in front of their home crowd today. Now let's get into the injury report, because this is where it gets interesting for Minnesota. Napheesa Collier, their MVP caliber forward, remains out with a left ankle issue. She was actually cleared to resume practicing with the team, so she's progressing, but as of the latest report, she has not been cleared for game action. That is a massive loss for Minnesota's frontcourt. Collier is their best two-way player. Emma Sachova is also out for the remainder of the season after tearing her ACL back in May, so that's a permanent absence. And rookie guard Olivia Miles has been dealing with a right calf strain. She was doubtful earlier in the week, so definitely check the final injury report before puck drop. But if she's out, that's a big hit, because Miles has been the runaway favorite for Rookie of the Year, averaging right around 18 to 19 points a game with elite playmaking numbers. Even without Collier, Minnesota has been getting big performances from their guards. In their last outing, a win over Connecticut, Kayla McBride dropped 28 points and Courtney Williams added a stat-stuffing line with 23 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, and 3 steals. This team is deep and well-coached under Cheryl Reeve, who is chasing the all-time wins record in this league. On the other side, New York has had its own injury saga all season. Sabrina Ionescu has battled back and foot issues for most of 2026, but she's been playing better basketball lately. She's appeared in 8 straight games heading into this stretch and looked much closer to her all-star form, including a 2-block, double-digit scoring effort in the win over Minnesota. Breanna Stewart has been the engine of this Liberty offense, and Jonquil Jones has quietly been playing some of the best basketball of her career, racking up double-doubles on a near-nightly basis. Keep an eye on Sada Sabali's status too. She's dealt with a concussion earlier in the season, so always check the pre-game report on her. New York is coming off a tough 88-77 home loss to Dallas on July 8th, so they're not walking in with a ton of momentum, but this team has proven they can play with anybody when healthy. Now let's get to the numbers. As of this morning, Minnesota is favored at home, with moneyline prices ranging from around -159 to -204 depending on the book, and New York sitting anywhere from +128 to +164. The spread is hovering around Minnesota -3.5 to -5.5. The total is set right around 172.5 to 175.5 points, and it's worth noting one of our sources actually likes the under here. They're pointing to 179 as their number and calling for a lower scoring, more physical, half-court heavy game between two teams that both pride themselves on defense. For my side pick, I'm going with Minnesota Lynx on the money line. Even missing Napheesa Collier, this team is 16-6 and playing angry after dropping 2 straight to this exact opponent. Home court, revenge factor, and frankly Minnesota's depth has been good enough to survive without their superstar. I like the Lynx to get this one back. For my total pick, I'm leaning under. Both of these teams are elite defensively. Minnesota allows one of the lowest effective field goal percentages in the league, and New York has really built its identity around defense this season while working guys back from injury. I think this stays under that 174-ish number. For my prop pick, I like Kayla McBride over on her points total. She's been the steadiest, most consistent scoring option for Minnesota in Collier's absence, coming off an 18-point outing and a big 28-point night before that. Against the Liberty defense that's still figuring out its rotations, I like her to keep that going. Next, we have Atlanta Dream versus Portland Fire. This one's a lot more lopsided on paper. Atlanta comes in at 13-9, currently sitting near the top of the East, while Portland is at 9-13 and dealing with a rough back-to-back situation. More on that in a second. Atlanta's engine all season has been Alisha Gray, who's been putting up big, efficient scoring numbers, and Angel Reese, who's been an absolute rebounding machine since coming over in the trade. She's been putting up strong double-doubles pretty much every night, most recently 17 points and 13 rebounds in a loss to Golden State. Ryan Howard has also been a key scoring piece for this team, and Jordan Canada continues to be a stabilizing presence running the point. The bad injury news for Atlanta is center Brianna Jones. She's been out all season recovering from right knee surgery, and there's still no firm timetable for her return. They've also been without guard Aaliyah Nye for an extended stretch with a left knee issue, though she's been trending toward questionable in recent reports, so check the final word before tip-off. Atlanta actually enters this one on a bit of a rough stretch themselves. They've dropped some tough ones recently, including a loss to Golden State in Seattle, so a 5-game losing streak was snapped just before this one. So don't sleep on Portland's chances to make this interesting early, even as a big underdog. Now, Portland's situation. The Fire are 9-13, and they are playing on the second half of a brutal back-to-back. They were just in action last night, July 10th, on the road against Las Vegas, and lost 88-80. Playing a road game one night and then traveling to face a quality Atlanta team the very next day is a tough spot for a young roster. Their top scoring options have been guard Carla Leite, who's been shooting the ball at a high clip from three, and Suggs Sutton running the offense. But fatigue is going to be a real factor here. The numbers: Atlanta is a massive favorite in this one, with an implied win probability sitting right around 86 to 87%. The total is sitting in the 172 to 173 range based on both teams' season scoring averages. For my side pick, I like Atlanta Dream, and I'd lean toward laying the points if you're comfortable with a bigger spread, given Portland's back-to-back fatigue and short-handed frontcourt on the road. For my total pick, I'll take the over. Atlanta's offense has had its slow stretches, but Portland doesn't defend particularly well inside, and tired legs on the second night of a back-to-back tend to lead to breakdowns in transition defense that usually favors points on the board. For my prop pick, my play is Angel Reese over on rebounds. Portland has struggled on the glass all season, and with Brianna Jones still out for Atlanta, Reese is going to see a huge workload on the boards on both ends. This is one of the friendliest rebounding matchups on the slate for her. Finally, we have Las Vegas Aces versus Phoenix Mercury. Our nightcap, and this is a rematch of last year's WNBA Finals. Las Vegas comes in at 16-6, right there with Minnesota atop the West, and Phoenix is struggling badly at 8-15. The headline story here is Aya Wilson. She missed a few games earlier this month with a right ankle injury, but she made her return on July 10th, literally last night, against Portland, and she looked completely unbothered, dropping a game-high 32 points and 10 rebounds on 10 of 19 shooting in an 88-80 win. The concern for today, though, is that this is a back-to-back for Las Vegas as well. They played last night in Portland, and now they're right back on the floor tonight at home against Phoenix. So durability and minutes management for Wilson is something to watch closely. The Aces have also been dealing with some depth issues in the backcourt. Dana Evans has been out with a leg injury. Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young remain the steady hands running this offense alongside Wilson. On the other side, Phoenix has had a genuinely brutal stretch. This team has gone something like 3 wins in their last 14 games. They're playing without Satisabowli, who left in the offseason, and they've had multiple guards out including Sammy Whitcomb, who's been sidelined with a knee injury. Alyssa Thomas has been the primary engine trying to keep this offense afloat, but the roster is thin, and Phoenix has been one of the worst teams in the league against the spread all season. The numbers: Las Vegas is a heavy favorite here, with the spread sitting around 8.5 to 9.5 points in the Aces' favor, and the money line in the minus 310 to minus 355 range for Las Vegas. The total is set at 166.5. For my side pick, I'm going with Las Vegas to cover, but I want to flag the back-to-back fatigue factor. If you're nervous about the number, the money line is the safer play here rather than laying 9+ points with a team that logged heavy minutes just one night earlier. For my total pick, I lean under 166.5. Phoenix's offense has been genuinely one of the worst in the league for weeks now, and if Wilson's minutes get managed at all tonight given the quick turnaround, I don't see this game getting up into the 170s. For my prop pick, I like Aya Wilson over on points and rebounds combined. Even on the second night of a back-to-back, she's shown zero signs of slowing down, 32-10 last night, and Phoenix simply does not have the frontcourt pieces to slow her down inside. Historically, she's dominated this specific matchup, and I don't expect that to change tonight. That's the full slate for July 11th. Remember, injury reports can shift right up until tip-off, so always check the final word before you lock anything in. If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, subscribe for daily WNBA coverage. I'll see you in the next one. Bet responsibly, and let's get this money.